Hello guys, I'm Indra. Uh, Today we are gonna make Tic Tac Toe. Mostly we are gonna talk about the JavaScript part of it. As you can see, I have already written the CSS. So first we are gonna write some HTML and make the table. I can give it ID the box one, B1. Okay, this is gonna be B2, and this will be B3. Okay, here. HTR we need this 3. So now we have our basic grade. I have CSS here, so I'll paste the link in the description so you can look at the CSS. But yeah, now I have the grade. Now what we want to do, every time we click in anywhere in this grid, we want to update the state. So for example, I'll take one variable as a player. So first player is X, for example. So every time we click in the grid inside the table, we want to update the player. So first I can just have a p tag here. I can give it the ID heading. Oops. Okay. So here I think now we can call it player X can start the game. Okay. So now we know player X is going to start the game. So every time he clicks on the box, we have to update. There are two things. Like first, one thing is we want to change the player, because if player X makes move, now next is player O. And also we want to check if we win the game, or it's a draw, or we need to continue making the next move. So I'll on click of this, we should have function. We can call it update value. Update value. Inside this update value, we can pass the ID. Okay, like oh, I'm sorry. ID of the value as a string, because we are going to use the same function. So first function is update value, which gets the element ID. We need another function, because every time when we call the update value, it's going to update the value, but we also need one more function to check the status. So we create another function, we call it check. Okay, so when we every time we click, we want to update the player. First things we want to do for P2, same for P3. Okay, so let's call it ID to make it more clear. So as soon as we click here, we want to change the player. Now player is, if its player is X, then change it to O. Player equal to X, then we change it to O. Or X. So now if player is X, then we change it to O, or if it's not X, then we change it to, leave it to X. Now as soon as we click here, we want to set the value, right? Like if I click on the P1 and player is X, I want to display X. So for that, I'll get the element using document dot get element by ID, and I'll pass here ID, and now I have the element, and I'll set the text for element, and that text would be the player, like X or O. Okay, now as soon as we set the, like if you look at this, I click, I set this setting. Now I don't want to click here again, right? So we have to disable the click. So we can do that using JavaScript, using the CSS. We can do using the JavaScript as well, but I use the CSS as it's pretty easy. So we can just do element dot style, and there are pointer events. Pointer event, we just need to set it to none, so that user is not able to click pointer events. Okay, so let's see. Now if I click X, now I'm not able to click here, right? Okay, now I go here. So okay, so if you see, now it's correct. If I click again, it should print X. Okay, same code I need to just copy for all this. It's gonna be B4 4. Copy that. B5. It's gonna be B6. B6. B5. B7. B8. B9. B9. B7. So now if we play the game, we should be able to make the moves correctly. X, O, X. We can't click again on the same box. After the X, O. After the O, we can play X, O, X. So this is working fine. Now we just need to check every time a player makes a move. We need to check if he has already won the game, or he can make the move, or it's draw. Like for example, now X makes move. Like this is the draw, and then we need to display its draw. We need to check, right? So for that we will use this check function, and using check we need to check the value of each value of each box. So how we can do that? We can do using the first need to get the value of all the elements. P1, we use the black as I'm gonna update it. P1 is gonna be document dot get element by ID P1, right? And I need to get the inner text dot inner text. Okay, let me write it here instead of writing there. Okay, so now I have P1. Same, I'll copy for all the elements. P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, P7, B8, and B9. So I have the value of all the boxes. Okay, so now I need to check what could be the winning probabilities. So first thing, if B1 is equal to B2 and B3, it means that's winning probability. Another is if B4 equal to B5 and B6, that's win. If B7 equal to B8 and B9, that is another win. And another case is if B1 equal to B5 and B9, then that's diagonal win. And another is if B3 equal to B5 and B7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 wins, right? Another is B1 equal to B4 and B7. So there are total 8 wins. So let's check, right? Some code. First, we need to check like if B1 shouldn't be empty. If it's empty, then that's not win, right? So if B1 is there and B1 equal to sorry, B1 equal to B2 and b1 equal to b3. Then we return 1, right? If that's the case, then b1. Else if another case is if b2 has some value, it's not null, and oh, I'm sorry, if b4 has some value and b4 equal to b5 and b4 equal to b6, then that's win. We return 1. Let's see. What is another scenario? b7 equal to b8 and b9. So we check if b7 is there and b7 equal to b8 and b7 equal to b9, then that's win, right? Same way, can check another one is b1 is there and b1 equal to b4, that's vertical win. b1 equal to b4 equal to b7 and b1 equal to b7, that's another win probability. And now we check b2 equal to b5 and b8, that's another win. And last vertical win is b3 is there and b3 equal to b6 and b9, right? Now we have got all the horizontal wins winning probability and all the vertical winning probability. Now there are two diagonal winning probability, which are if b1 equal to b5 and b1 equal to b9. That's vertical. I'm sorry, diagonal winning probability. Same if b3 and b3 equal to b5 and b3 equal to b7. Right, that's another one. Now we have all the winning conditions. Now we can see like how this game works. So if it's winning probability, then what do we want to do? If it's win, then game is over. We don't want to let user click on the table, and we want to display the text here, right? So first I'll create a variable, call it status, which will call the function check and return the status. If status equal to 1, then we want to do something here, right? If it's already 1, then we don't want user to click anywhere else, right? So we will disable the clicks for the table. So let's give it the ID table. So let me get the element table element, I call it. You can get the same way, document dot get element by ID and table. Now we have the table element. So if user is already 1, then we want to disable the click event for the table, right? We do this dot style enter events, and we want to set to the none. So now if player is 1, we don't want to click on the table anywhere on the table. Also, I think it would be a good idea if we display some text here. I have the element heading here. I can get the heading and we can display some text so we know who is winning and what's going on. So let's do that. Let's get the heading element. Heading element, we call it heading, and we update. If it's 1, then we display heading element dot inner text equal to, you can use the backticks player, you can use the real player, whatever the player is playing, and we can do the player one. Now one flaw you might see is we are changing player here before everything, so we need to change player in the end because we're still playing, right? I mean, like, once we are done after displaying the text, we need to change the player. And also we can display the turn, like which player's turn. I can write this code in the else part if you want. Else I'll change the player and display little text so we know which player's turn. So we'll display player turn. Let's see how it works. So player X can start X, player O turn. So this is perfectly fine. Now player O goes, player X turn. Player X goes here, player O turn. We can't click again if you see. Player O goes here. Now player X turn. Now it says player X1. Now let's try if you can click anywhere on the table. No. So that is good. Now another scenario is, what if nobody wins, right? For example, like when the match gets draw, like in this case, nobody wins. Now we need to display the draw, and yeah, that's one case we want to cover. Like right now it says player O turn when the game is over and it's draw. So here we can add one more case, else if all the boxes have some value, it means we are done. There is no room to make moves. So we can check B1 and B2 and B3 and B4 and B5 and B6, B7, B8 and B9. If all the boxes have value, then I would return draw, right? Can return draw. If values, then it's draw. And we can check here in the status, we can add else if check if status equal to draw. If it's a draw, then what we want to do, we again want to disable the pointers, and we want to display like if it's game draw. So what I'll do is I want to disable the pointer events, and there are no pointer events, and I'll update the text, and text would be game draw. Now we have all the winning probabilities, we have the draw probability. If it's not one of these, then we return the continue, just so we know this is the where, I mean, like, player makes move and there still moves to make, and it's not game over, nobody wins, nobody is winning, then we can just return continue, so we know, like, can continue making moves. Let's see. Now let's see if it works as we expect. Player O, player X, player O, player X, player O. So yeah, it does display player O1. Now let's try to make more moves. We can't make. Now let's test the draw part. Player X, player O, player X, player O, player X, player O, player X, player O, and player X. Game draw. No defense. So this is the basic logic. Yep. And I will upload this code on Git, and I'll share the link in the description. Also, if you want me to make videos on any topic, you can always send me an email. If you have any question, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll try to reply as soon as possible. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video.